Hello everyone, I'm Ixalan, and it is Wednesday, so that means it's time for another Crack-A-Pack. Right now we're opening Ixalan and talking about the pack in the context of Limited, basically what we would pick with our first pick if this were our first pack in a draft. And of course I also talk about all the cards in the pack in the context of Limited, how I'm thinking about these cards right now, having played the format and so forth. So our first common is Skullduggery. This is a pretty good card. It's definitely not something you want to first pick generally, but it's a very strong trick. It allows you to get 2-for-1s in, ideal situations, and it's not hard to get a 1-for-1 with it and use it to just kill your opponent's creature. And getting a 2-for-1, like I said, is on the table, and it's actually not that hard to do. It's not like Magical Christmas Land to get a 2-for-1 with this. It's not a hard thing to do. You'll do it, maybe once a draft if you have one of these. You still don't want to first pick it, though. It's a trick. It's going to be better in an aggressive deck. You don't know you're going to be in an aggressive deck, and you'd still rather have, like, a lot of good creatures or removal, more flexible removal, basically, than that. But it is a good card, and I would play at least one in every black deck. But next we have Rile. This is not something I would play in every red deck. This is basically only good if you have a bunch of creatures with enrage, dinosaurs basically, because you can damage the creature and give it trample, and you get to draw a card. The fact that it lets you draw a card makes it not the worst card to put in your deck, because at worst it's 1 mana to draw a card. But it's still not great, and you definitely don't first pick it, but it is a fine card in some very narrow decks. Most other decks won't play it. Next we have Shorekeeper. This is a 1 mana 0/3, but it is one of the Keeper cycle. It lets you pay 8 mana and sacrifice it to do something powerful. In this case, you get to draw 3 cards. That's some pretty real upside, and a 1 mana 0/3 isn't great. But it doesn't have Defender, which is sort of, a lot of times cards like this would have Defender, and because of that it can actually trigger Raid, which it does do from time to time. It's going to be better in a very controlling deck than anything, because you can actually cash it in late and have it give you some huge card advantage, but it's also not something I want to first pick. Alright, next we have Jade Guardian. Now this card has, I think, been an overperformer. I thought it was definitely going to be a solid card in Merfolk decks. I didn't think it was going to be a bad card by any means, but it turns out a 4 mana 3/3 with hexproof is good in this format, better than I thought it would be, especially because of the blue aura that gives +2/+2 and flying. If you put that on this the turn after you play it, your opponent's probably just dead. There aren't a lot of ways to stop it other than playing a bigger flyer because it has hexproof. And even if you don't get auras, which, by the way, having a couple Jade Guardians is like the only situation where I think playing an aura is a great idea. I guess there's also the big hexproof dinosaur at rare, so there's some other incentives, but having hexproof mitigates against the main problem auras have, which is easy 2-for-1s. But this also has upside in Merfolk. It has upside +1/+1 counters, and I think right now I would actually take it over Skullduggery, though the two are close. And now I think we have a new first pick, and it is Vanquish the Weak. This is another card I think I underestimated a little bit. I got sort of fixated on the idea that this format had a bunch of huge dinosaurs in it. And so Vanquish the Weak, I didn't think it was going to be bad once again, but I didn't think it was going to be as good as it is, because I thought there would be a lot of creatures it just can't kill. And that's sort of true. But it turns out this format's actually pretty fast. Some of the best decks in the format are fast, and Vanquish the Weak can kill basically all the creatures in those decks, including the very, very good ones. And so I like it a lot, and it's our new first pick. Next, we have an interesting card, one that I think has been a subject of debate within the community, and that's because it's an interesting card, and that is Pirate's Cutlass. So some people think this is like a great first pick, and I can see their reasoning to a certain extent. It's a 3 mana equipment, and you can pay 2 to equip it to give something +2/+1, and that's not great. That would probably be like a D. But it has that huge pirate upside that it equips to a pirate for free. And pirate decks can play a 2-drop, like the 2 mana 4/3, or just a 2 mana 2/1 or whatever, and then play the Cutlass on turn 3, and you're suddenly just like wrecking your opponent. It's very hard for them to stop that. And if you curve into that with a pirate deck, it's strong. The reason I don't advocate first picking it is because while it is playable in a non-pirate deck, a deck that doesn't have enough pirates to really use the trigger on a regular basis, it's not that good. Like, you'll end up cutting it. It'll be like your 23rd card if it makes the cut. It's a fine card, and it's incredibly good. If you're in the pirate deck, it suddenly becomes a card you prioritize. You'll probably take as many as 3 or 4 of these if you're in the pirate deck, because it's basically an aura that sticks around if your creature dies at that point. And so it's a very good card. I think I would take Vanquish the Weak over it, though. Next, we have Anointed Deacon, and this has been a card that has overperformed to a certain extent. I mean, in my set review, I talked about how good it was going to be with creature tokens, and that is definitely true. Making a 1/1 lifelinker into a 3/1 lifelinker makes it hard for your opponent to block and get a good deal, and you gain a ton of life. It's a good vampire payoff, but not something you want to first pick. So I'm still on Vanquish the Weak at this point, though I do like the Cutlass probably the second most. Next common is Stormfleet Pyromancer. Weirdly enough, as much as I like this card, I haven't actually played with this one yet. I'm, several drafts into the format. I do like this card. It can get 2-for-1s, and it's going to be even better in this format than I thought it was going to be for the same reason that Vanquish the Weak is better. Lots of people are playing 2 and 3s and just trying to bash you to death before you can do anything. And Stormfleet Pyromancer is the kind of card that if you play it on turn 5 can end up getting things back in order for you if you're facing one of those aggro decks, because not only does it kill one of their creatures, it can trade for one of their other creatures, and that's some huge value. Still, I would take Vanquish the Weak over it. Just a great removal spell. Stormfleet Pyromancer is probably, I don't know, the Cutlass might actually be second just because it has such high upside, but the Pyromancer's in the mix now too. Sirens Roos. This card is pretty nice in a pirate deck, or in a deck with a lot of into the battlefield triggers. It's pretty good with any creatures that have Explore because it lets you explore again. Where it can be really good is with the 3-mana 2/2 Merfolk who taps down your opponent's creature and doesn't let it untap for a turn, or with the Merfolk who taps down all of your opponent's creatures when it enters the battlefield. It can be really potent with those, and they're not pirates, but their enter the battlefield triggers are so valuable, it's about like drawing a card. I still wouldn't take Sirens Roos like first pick, but it's definitely a card I want in a lot of blue decks and definitely a pirate deck. Next I have Jungle Delver. This card has been pretty underwhelming. It's fine if you have to play it in your Merfolk deck, but ideally you're going to end up cutting it, and I think it's sort of a 23rd, 24th kind of card in your deck. Okay, first uncommon is Dusk Legion Dreadknot. 5 mana for a 4/6 with Vigilance, but it's a vehicle, and you have to pay 2 to crew it. It's okay. I don't like... I play it in a lot of heavy creature decks just because it gives you a nice body. And you do have to tap a 2-power creature, but if you don't have enough creatures, this card's pretty much unplayable, as most vehicles can be. So if you're, 10 or 12 creatures, you don't really want this. And even if you are, it's not like the most exciting effect around. It's just a big body that you have to activate every turn by tapping a creature with 2 or less power. Otherwise, it does nothing. 2 or more power. Otherwise, it does nothing. And so I don't think it's a great card. It's a fine card. I would play it in a lot of decks, but I don't want to first pick it. I think I'm still... I am still on Vanquish the Weak at this point. Our next uncommon is Stormfleet Arsonist. 5 mana for a 4/4 that if you raided when it enters the battlefield makes your opponent sacrifice a permanent. It's fine. It's a nice top curve for a pirate deck. You play it, you're going to eat a land or something, and that's fine. That adds up. It does something. It's not incredible, though. I would still take both. I think Vanquish the Weak and Pirate's Cutlass are number 1 and 2 in this pack right now. But we have an uncommon that just destroys both of those cards, and that is Lightning Strike, which is one of the best uncommons in the set. I think the 5/5, the Charging Monster Sword is what it is, and I think Ixalan's Binding might be better, and what else? Is there another uncommon that's better? Savage Stomp is probably better, but Lightning Strike is the next best thing to those. It's one of the best uncommons. So that's what we're taking now, but we also have a rare that's even better, and that is Captivating Crew, which I think is one of the biggest bombs in the format. Having the ability to steal your opponent's creatures is huge. It's like paying you get your opponent's one of your opponent's blockers out of the way, let's say, and you get to smash them in the face with it. And that really makes your opponent have to play the game differently. They have to start calculating damage in a very different way because suddenly it's going to be a lot more damage. If you have 8 mana untapped and you're allowed to untap, you're probably just winning the game. If you have 4, you're going to get close to just winning the game. So it's definitely Captivating Crew, I think, followed by Lightning Strike, then Vanquish the Weak, then Pirate's Cutlass. This is actually quite a strong pack. One of the downsides of this pack is we're passing Lightning Strike, so whoever's to our right is going to be taking that and probably be in red as well. So that's something to keep in mind if the draft is going on and red just seems completely gone from your left in this pack. You're going to have to realize you're not going to get it from the right either, and you might have to bail out of red because both people next to you are probably in it. But it's such a strong card that it's worth that risk. So definitely Captivating Crew here. In the comments, let me know what you would first pick. And don't forget, these videos are sponsored by the Ether Hub, which is not only a YouTube channel, but also a gaming store. You can go to etherhubtcg.com and sign up to receive monthly deliveries, basically, of booster packs. It's a very cool service. So thanks for watching.